get familiar. So if you don't know by now, then you should probably get familiar.
Bootstrap includes 260 Glyph-icons. They can be used in almost any HTML element, including text, buttons, toolbars, navigation, and forms. This HTML page contains some examples of different icons you can use. For a full list of icons, visit the URL below. In order to display an icon on your page, create a span element as shown here, and add the Glyph-icon class. Also add the class of the specific icon you want to use. So we can see in this first example, we start with the text envelope. And next we have our span element. You can see that the span element has two classes, Glyph-icon and Glyph-icon envelope. And that's really all it takes to include an icon on your page. The next three icons follow the exact same format. The only difference is we've changed the icon type. So you can see we have search, heart, and star empty. Now, the next example, we've embedded an icon inside a button. So we have the search Glyph-icon inside these two buttons. And doing that is simple. We use the same span element and the same class format, but we just insert it in between our open and close button tags. The next button is the same thing. We have a search Glyph-icon. The only difference is that this button uses the button warning class, and that's why it's an orangish color. And then there's just some other examples here. We have a print Glyph-icon. And lastly, we've embedded a print Glyph-icon inside a link element. So you can see we start with the open A tag. We specify the class for this link, which is button, button success, and button large. So that's what gives it this styling. And next we just create our span element and insert our two classes, Glyph-icon and Glyph-icon print. And that's what adds that icon right before the label print. Using Bootstrap, we can create a variety of different badges and labels to add emphasis to different HTML elements. We can see several examples on this HTML page, starting with badges. Next to each link, we can see a badge, each containing a number. To create this, we simply need to create a span and give it a class attribute equal to badge, as shown here. The span element is created, in this case, inside a link element. We start with our A tags, followed by the href attribute, and then the label for the link, and then our span element. So the span element in this case is given the class badge, and that's what creates this circle with the number inside. We have a couple of other examples, just with different labels and different values. Now here we see that badges can also be inserted into buttons. So we have a button element, and inside the button element we have our span element. And once again we've assigned the class badge. And this particular span has a value of 10, as we see here. And that's the kind of effect it creates. The next block of code here is an example of labels attached to headings. So we start with the heading tag and insert our span element inside the heading tag. So we start with open h1, the label for the heading, and the span element. So this time, since we're creating a label, we've used the label class and specified which label style we'd like to apply. So in this case, we have label primary. In the next example, we have label warning, and then danger and info. So that's what gives each label its unique color. And you can see that the label decreases in size along with the heading. So depending on which heading element you use, the label size will correspond to the heading. And we can create labels outside of any other element as well by simply using the span tags. Here we have a series of labels, each with a different label class. So the first one is label, and then label default, label primary, and so on and so forth. And you can see that this is the end result here for this block of code.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face, tell me that you love me, even if it's fake.